This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy Tediucci.
Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hello. And so, how's it going today? Good?
It's going. I rearranged my llama so he can see
Yeah.
because he was like kind of peeking out in the top of my chair. So I fixed that.
I like that.
Thank you.
You know,
I figured
got
you
to
would.
make sure he has a view.
Exactly. Unexpected view.
All right. So, did you pull a card today?
I did pull a card today. So I thought this was appropriate with our guest, Deb, which I will be introducing shortly and what she's about to talk about. So, Deb, I pulled the Medicine Guardian.
Not so cool.
Right. Be open to healing information. And the bigger message says, listen to what is coming up within you and what is being shared with you by trustworthy others in your life. Pay attention to healing information. Healing angels can help you heal emotionally, spiritually, and physically with their energy, but they can also direct you toward information that will help you return to wholeness. When this card appears, information is being revealed that can help heal an aspect of your current situation, whether that be your health, relationships, or even career. So be alert for this. The Medicine Guardian has I'm going to say catechist. I don't know how to pronounce this. Steph and I figured this out, talked about it. I'm going to say healing wand. It's a healing wand, which represents the capacity to heal with the power of will and desire, and a chalice, which represents returning to a state of wholeness, a state where your cup is no longer full, but overflowing with goodness. The emerald color of the card represents the healing rays of Archangel Raphael and his healing angels.
Yay. I love that.
What
Cool.
did you pull?
I pulled All Is Well,
Ooh.
and it is Archangel Jeremiel.
Mhm.
Everything happens exactly as it's supposed to. With hidden blessings, you'll soon understand. Sometimes what appears to be a problem is actually an answered prayer in disguise. When we ask for help, heaven may dismantle the old to make room for the new. During this time of change, practice relaxation methods such as yoga, deep breathing exercise, and meditation. Ask me to make your transition smooth and harmonious.
Army?
Harmony
Armenius. New
for
word.
everyone involved, and know that this change is for the better. Working with Archangel Jamil, each angel has a specific aura color. Jamil's is a deep eggplant purple. When you see sparkles of dark purple light, this is one way you know Jamil is with you. Each archangel is a particular type of crystal aligned with their energy, and his is that of the amethyst. When you wear an amethyst, you may feel closer to his kind and loving energy.
Mm. I love that backstory on the amethyst. I did not know that.
Yes.
So, Deb, this is the deck that you chose. This is Whispers of Aloha. And how we're going to do this for you is I will shuffle the deck and you tell me when to stop if I don't drop them on the floor.
Stop.
Bottom or top?
Top.
Okay. Sage advisor.
Ooh.
Seek the guidance of lived wisdom. Oh, that's a beautiful card. I've
Oh
got
my
a
gosh.
couple of times. I know I got chills just now. So let's see what this says. And this woman, like, look at the smile, look at the joy on
Yes.
her face, right?
Such a powerful image.
So this says turn to someone who has information, understanding, or has experienced what you are facing. How appropriate for today's call. Hard-won lessons bring knowledge, compassion, and a robust value system. When seeking the support of an elder, recognize the wisdom and experience that has formed their resolve. As a person ages, their ability to process new information may be slow, but aging does not affect reasoning or intelligence. Maturity brings insight and the ability to make discerning choices. The lived experience of others can offer you a broader perspective, like visiting someone with a time machine. The stories of an elder can transport you to another world. It can be fascinating to listen to their trials, tribulations, and achievements. You might find some pearls, inspiration, or something to ponder. You might also be reminded of what is important for today and your tomorrow. A beautiful woman smiles with happiness.
Oh
Her
my
neck
gosh.
is adorned with a shell lay. The shells
Okay.
represent transcendent wisdom and enlightenment. Oh my,
Ooh.
what a card for you to pull.
Okay. Chills.
Yeah.
For sure, got chills. And so it is my pleasure to represent, to
That works.
introduce Deb Krier of TryingNotToDie.LIVE. Deb is not only a seasoned entrepreneur with a background in communications, marketing, and public relations, but also a cancer advocate whose personal journey through stage 4 triple positive breast cancer and thyroid cancer has been truly transformative. In 2022, she founded TryingNotToDie.LIVE and is a commendable initiative empowering those navigating the complexities of cancer. Her unwavering commitment to turning struggles into strengths, fostering hope in the cancer community, and promoting resilience aligns seamlessly with the values of her podcast as the founder of TryingNotToDie.LIVE and the host of the Business Power Hour. With her podcast, Deb brings profound insights into holistic health, wellness, and spirituality. Welcome, Deb Krier.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored, and I need copies of both of those cards because that was just absolutely fabulous. So thank you. I am truly honored to be on your program.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
we're so happy to have you. I will get that copy, the copy of the cards to you for
Yeah.
sure in your email.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Hi, everybody. Martha Alexander is a sponsor of the Smiling Souls podcast. Martha helps people break free from negative energies and reclaim their personal power. She is a healer and teacher who has seen firsthand how chaos, fear, and distraction can drain our energy and disconnect us from our strength. That's why she created Standing in Your Power, your real-time guide to creating positive change. This isn't just another self-help guide. It is a practical toolkit for recognizing when you're being pulled from your power in simple but profound ways to reclaim it. Drawing from her work in spiritual protection and energy healing, she has distilled essential practices into clear, actionable steps that anyone can use. Whether you're feeling overwhelmed by world events, struggling with social media, or navigating personal challenges, this guide offers real-time tools to help you stay centered and strong. You'll learn how to recognize the difference between chaos and meaningful action, practical techniques for maintaining your energy, and ways to create positive ripples of change that extend far beyond yourself. So download the free guide now at www.courageous-heart.com/standing in your power freebie, because you deserve to stand in your power today and every day. The link will be in the comments. Go ahead and grab that. This is your invitation to the Smiling Souls Self-Love Retreat. I'm Wendy, your self-care and mindset coach. So let's get started with a bit of nostalgia and silliness, okay? Silly putty, remember that? Embrace your inner child. Go grab some on Amazon, because as busy women, we deserve to play too.
Hey, and I am Stephanie, your holistic skin and overall wellness coach. And self-care does not have to be complicated. I am going to share my favorite mini rituals that you can easily weave in. Aromatherapy, quick meditations, just 5-10 minutes can make a world of difference.
Yeah, I can. And you know what? You deserve to put your own oxygen mask on first. Self-care is not selfish, it's essential. So embrace your playful side, try new rituals, and keep shining.
We've also invited 2 expert friends to share at our Smiling Souls Self-Love Retreat on March 6th. Click the link to register. See you there.
See you there. Wow. Talk about empowering and overcoming. And so tell us about your journey and how you got to founding TryingNotToDie.LIVE.
Well, it's been a little bumpy, to say the least. I was initially diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer. And way back in my background, I worked for an oncologist who I adored. And I worked for the American Cancer Society. So I know just enough about this to be dangerous, right? And so I was diagnosed with stage 0. I didn't have a lump. I didn't have a bump. I had microcalcifications, which, according to Dr. Google, and don't do that. Dr. Google told me that I really shouldn't be worried about microcalcifications. Happens to every woman above a certain age. But in my case, they were starting to coalesce and gather together. And so that's where the issue came in. But yeah, didn't really worry about it for several months, had a couple other tests, all sorts of things. And then we finally said, you know what, let's just pull some lymph nodes just to see. And 8 of 12 lymph nodes came back positive. So I went from stage 0 to stage 3, and so, then I got an oncologist. I hadn't had an oncologist. Yeah, I didn't need one. And I had determined that for me, I was going to do the traditional approach. I was going to do chemo, surgery, radiation. Now, one of the things that I tell anybody is you have to pick what will work for you. If you don't believe it's going to work for you, then you shouldn't be doing it. And so, but yeah, I felt most comfortable with the traditional approach. So had my first round of chemo, which was massive. It was 8 different drugs because these little things were throughout my body, right? Artifacts, as they called them. So I, of course, called my cancer Artie.
Artie.
Yes. And I had a little character made of him and all sorts of stuff. But
that's so funny.
So the first round of chemo just about killed me. I skipped sepsis and went into septic shock. My God. And luckily, we're 5 minutes from the hospital. My doctor had someone who had died from the same complication, which is incredibly rare. Less than 1% of the people get this complication, but I'm special. And so, but the doctors argued about how fast I was going to die that day. The surgeon wasn't going to do anything because he said, why are we bothering? And the oncologist said, you're going to do everything you can. And I remember thinking, hello, I get to vote.
Right. Were you like sitting there in the room and they're having this?
They were out in the hall. And it was a little bit different according to my husband, but he said, yeah, that was the basis of it. And so obviously he did operate. He did save my life. He did another surgery later on that was 7.5 hours. And all sorts of things. Wow. I was in the hospital with that initial go round for 7 weeks, in and out of ICU, in and out of surgeries, because septic shock, that ended up being what my biggest ongoing concern is. Got all better, decided to have a double mastectomy. And I had decided on the double because I'm old and I didn't want to be lopsided and I didn't want to have to worry. It was like, just do both. I also decided not to have any type of reconstructive surgery. Again, a very, very personal choice. But I'm old, and I do have prosthetics, and they are, of course, named Lucy and Ethel. And so people ask me, do you have Lucy and Ethel? Right. Come on. Yeah. I mean, you got to have as much fun with this as you can. So, but I got a complication from that surgery that my doctor had never seen. Tried chemo again. I know, tried chemo again and actually had the same reaction. But we caught it earlier. And so, not nearly as bad, but sailed through radiation, which, considering my complexion, they were really surprised at. But I had some really good natural oils, natural lotions, a lot of things like that, I don't know if it helped, but, I talked to people who developed severe blistering. I mean, all sorts of ickies.
Yep.
I didn't even peel. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
my skin, considering my nose turns red going to the mailbox, my skin didn't even turn red. I mean, it was, and I had 30 treatments, you know, and so I think a big part of that was how I took care of my skin. You know, and then, you know, like one of the things is that you really, really hydrate during that time, and lots of rest, which seems strange with radiation, but I don't know, seemed to help. And then, you know, I went sailing merrily along. Uh, Several years ago, I did develop a second cancer, which was a skin cancer. And it's basal cell carcinoma, which easy peasy to treat. I didn't even have a stitch. And it's probably because this little freckled redheaded kid didn't know what sunscreen was. You know, and so, you know, but now I get to get that, you know, do the strip and spin every 6 months. And then I did develop a couple of years ago thyroid cancer, and it is a totally separate cancer. So I've had 3 different cancers. We caught it extremely early, removed my thyroid, didn't have to have any further treatment. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's been entertaining, but I worked almost the entire time.
Really?
Hospitals have really good Wi-Fi, and it gave me something to focus on, right? And so my business coach several years ago said, you know, because she knows my whole story, she sighs and she shook her finger at me on Zoom, and she said, you didn't go through everything you went through without using it to help others. And I said, yeah, but I don't want to be cancer girl. You know, and she said, yeah, you need to be, you know, and so that was when we decided to start this initiative called TryingNotToDie.LIVE, as you said. And part of that, you know, it comes from the fact that when we have something very seriously wrong, whatever it is, we get so caught up in trying to not die that we forget that we have to live. And, you know, that's the thing that I really want to tell people is, I don't care if you've got 5 days or 50 years, how are you going to live during that time? And, you know, and that was the thing that I learned from that oncologist 30 some years ago that I worked for.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well,
I know a lot to unpack.
and I'm mentally unpacking this. So my question, until you just said that last sentence, that's what you learned from the oncologist 30 years ago, was like how I'm going to live to my fullest, basically.
Right.
But my question before I heard that is, like, you obviously made a choice when you got diagnosed, how you were going to approach this. And you said early on, I'm going to find the fun.
Right. Oh, yeah.
What had you make that choice? Because we all get to decide.
Well, I've always been kind of goofy and silly, right? You know, and they actually did eventually change my diagnosis to as you said in the intro, stage 4. Stage 4, triple positive metastatic breast cancer. And stage 4 is not considered curable. And so now it might never come back. And I'm coming up on my 10-year mark. Which for those who don't know, that's really big. And so, but yeah, I mean, it all along, I have been silly and goofy. You know, when my hair started to fall, even with, you know, just the 1 day's worth of treatment, I did lose my hair. And a friend of mine who is a dog groomer had said she would come and shave my head. And so I'm in the hospital and it's coming out in hunks and chunks, right? And so she came and she buzzed me. And so it was so funny because in the morning when the doctors made rounds, and by that point I had probably 10 doctors, they all came in, you know, and yada, yada, and then left. In the afternoon, they came back and I'm bald as could be. I mean, I didn't have a hat yet. I didn't have anything. And they were all like, whoa. And I'm like, hi. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's, and part of it is I want to make them laugh too. They've got really, really hard jobs. And so can I make them laugh?
Speaking of laughter, I have to share, I think it's funny. So this is not the funny part. So my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer 2021. She's fine. She's 4 years out of it. She's doing good. All she had to do was radiation. So we're thankful. Here's the thing. My mom, God love her, but oh my goodness, you put any kind of paper on the wall, any poster, she has to read all of it. Okay. So took her to radiation one day, and she's in the changing room for a while. And the nurse came out and she's like,
She okay?
what is she doing in there? I'm like, I don't know. And I go in there and she's just reading all the thing. I'm like, you have to get your robe
Yes.
on. You gotta get your you gotta get going. People are waiting, kind of thing. So after this episode, the next time I took her back, the nurse was like, yeah, your mom doesn't have to change. She can just go right. And
Yeah. Yep.
like, thank you.
Perfect.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Lori.
Well,
Don't ever take her to what's the thing around here with the
oh,
they
like
got signs every the
Cracker
restaurant.
Barrel or something like that.
Don't ever take
yeah.
that woman. You'll never get out.
I love it.
Well, I was just thinking you must have been a wonderful person to have during chemo as like a chemo partner person, you know,
Oh
like because you know
my
you're in
Oh,
those
goodness.
you would have
chairs
been a great
together,
chemo
right?
partner.
Yeah, because you just have such a personality that's
Yeah,
like
you really do, Deb.
full of joy,
Okay.
even when you're dealing with the gunk, right?
Right. You know,
Right.
and it's so funny. I had treatment yesterday. Because I am still in active treatment. And I walked in and there's all these people. And so what do I say? It's a party. And they all turned around and looked at me and I thought, okay.
Not my
so
people.
I went past them and they were all very official looking, right? Some had clipboards and all this stuff. I mean, they were clearly not patients.
Right.
And so one of the nurses said, we're being audited. And I said, so you need me to behave? And they said, we need you to behave.
Oh, shucks. All right. So did you
I
behave?
love that.
I did. You know, like one of the things, you know, what's your name? What's your date of birth?
Right.
And now I don't do this to new people because I don't want to freak them out. But, you know, if they know me, I say, my name is Anastasia Beaverhausen. And they told me, don't do that in front of the auditors. But I still did the queen wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you have to do something.
I know. Well, and it's funny because what I had yesterday was a shot in my thigh. And so I have sweats on with shorts on underneath. Right. But I just dropped the sweats. Right. And you know, and I'm like, I have shorts on. These are not my drawers. But they ran over and they put a blanket and they said, just so that you don't panic the auditors. Like, I ain't sitting here in my undies.
So funny.
It's too bad you didn't have a heads up that the auditors were there, because I would imagine you would have had a lot more fun with that.
Oh yeah, I would have.
My God, the two of you together, trouble. I can just see your little brains.
Oh yes, yes. You know, and it really is. You know, it's. I love the name of your podcast because that really is what it's about. It's how are our souls smiling? Because, and you know, people tell me, oh, you're always so happy. No. For when I don't tell people, except my husband, he knows when it's not a good day. But otherwise, most people don't know. You know, a couple people I might tell, but otherwise they don't know. But you know, yeah, how can and we have to feel the ucky stuff. We have to acknowledge it.
Yep.
We have to give ourselves grace to acknowledge it.
100%.
But then we can say, okay, I'm done with that now. You know, and move on. But yeah, it's, you know, how are we going to smile today?
Yeah. It's true.
Well, that's a write downable. How are we going to smile today? Right?
The title of our program.
Right. Well, and so Deb, you mentioned essential oils. You through the radiation. I know Steph's got questions about that because she is the essential oil.
She is, because I looked at her website.
I don't really have questions, but no, I mean, honestly, that's one thing as a holistic esthetician. I really want to get certified in the oncology. I've definitely been holistic esthetician. It's like, I basically do the things. It's just you need the certification so
right.
you can
you need
say
that piece of paper.
I have certainly cared for people while going through that. And yeah, that hydration piece is key. The fact that you were using those lotions is amazing. You know, I'm just very happy to hear that you embrace that, because that's the thing. I think so many people look at somebody like myself and just think, oh, wackadoo.
Oh,
But
it's well, I mean, the medical stuff is what made me really sick, right?
right.
And it was interesting. One of the times when I was having to have emergency surgery, a friend of mine who knows a lot about essential oils came and put them on the soles of my feet, right? Because that way
Mm-hmm.
I would absorb them through my whole
Yep.
body. And I'm in the ER still at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody'd come in and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they all, I think they benefited from it too.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was obviously a much better aroma than what they normally would have.
Right.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, did it help? I don't know. Certainly
Yeah,
didn't hurt. And I think
exactly.
that's the thing. But I felt that it was helping. So that was
Yeah.
what was important.
Yeah. I use doTERRA essential oils, and
Hmm. Hmm.
the for me getting into that, I was already using oils for a
Hmm.
very long time before I
Hmm.
found out about them. But it was their quality, like
Hmm.
the degree
Hmm.
of quality that they
Right.
have,
Hmm.
and then the science behind them,
Hmm.
and the fact that they
Right.
partner with
Hmm.
universities and hospitals.
Hmm.
And like
Hmm.
nowadays, like there are several hospitals that
Hmm.
actually diffuse
Hmm.
in
Right.
like like they started
Hmm.
with studies where they were
Hmm.
like diffusing lemon in
Hmm. Hmm.
ERs, because lemon gets rid of fears.
Hmm.
It is uplifting and
Right.
keeps you alert.
Hmm.
So for the staff, keep them
Hmm.
alert, keep
Hmm.
them
Right.
positive. It's an
Hmm.
uplifting and
Hmm.
positive
Hmm.
oil. So, when you're dealing with that incredibly
Hmm.
stressful environment, but at the same time, for the not guests, for
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
patients,
I guess. Be our
it's
guest.
reducing those
Hmm.
fears. I mean,
Hmm.
every time you go to an ER, your blood pressure's up extra high
Right.
just
Yeah.
in
Hmm.
that
Just
environment,
walking through
let
that
alone
door.
what is
Right.
happening to
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it was fascinating. And then like there are some hospitals that now are diffusing lavender
Hmm. All
in
right. To help people
recovery wards
rest. Hmm.
after people
Hmm.
have
Yep. Hmm.
had surgeries, because
Hmm.
it actually not only helps with the rest, but it helps
Hmm.
with the healing.
Hmm.
Really.
So
Hmm. Hmm.
incredible things that
Hmm.
they've discovered along
Right.
the way.
Hmm.
And so now there are lots of
Hmm.
hospitals
Hmm.
that have diffusers
Hmm.
Wow.
in
It's about
them
time.
to help
Right.
their people.
Well, and even just, like I said, there's odors that are there that are
Hmm.
not fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, it's like when you walk
Or just
into an
that
upscale
typical
hotel,
hospital
right? Yes.
smell.
Right.
The sanitary, when you
Yeah.
walk in, it smells like
Exactly.
bleach,
Yeah.
and things like that, or other things.
Hmm.
And yeah, so the sooner that you can get rid of that, because of course that
Hmm.
plays on your mind. Why are
Hmm.
they
Yeah, it
cleaning
does.
so much? Ew, did somebody get sick? I mean, all of those things.
Hmm.
Weird thought. You remember when you were in school and someone vomited and they put that like
That
sandpaper stuff
banana
down?
stuff.
No, it was like orange.
Oh,
But do
mine
you
was
remember that
bananas.
smell?
Oh
It was,
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The orange.
I could smell that same similar thing now and go, ooh,
I
ooh,
know.
right?
Just as you're talking, I'm like, oh God.
Mhm.
Ugh. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes,
Yeah.
the
Sorry.
power
I-
of
Yeah,
smell
no,
and
that
our
yeah.
memories.
Mhm. Yeah. And I mean that is one of the things. My father has yeah, I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole here. My father was in World War II, and he was
Mhm.
one of his battalion was one of the
Mhm.
first ones to go in and liberate some of the concentration camps.
Oh
Hmm.
God.
Oh
And
God,
that smell,
that smell.
yes. And I remember several times in my life where he would just stop.
Yep.
And sometimes we wouldn't even notice it, but he would smell that.
Oh
Hmm.
And he was back in Germany.
Hmm.
And I mean, and that was 50 years afterwards.
Hmm.
Our sense of smell, good and bad. I mean, that's why realtors say bake bread,
Hmm.
all of
oh,
those
right.
things. Smell is one
Hmm.
of the things that I think
Oh,
is one of the most powerful memories that we have.
Oh yeah. 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 Because it's connected to like when we smell, it goes
Mhm.
to our limbic system, which
Right.
yeah,
Hmm.
sends those signals, and yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
good or bad.
Hmm.
that is interesting. Yeah, sorry. I had to bring that up because weird
Squirrel.
thought. Right?
That's
Welcome to our
interesting though.
podcast.
Yeah.
So Deb, you talk about self-care and holistic health. And so
Yeah.
this seems to be like the
Mhm.
perfect opportunity.
Right.
So
Right.
can you tell us about the insights that you discovered
You know,
on your journey?
any cancer, any type of illness, like I've met people who have the exact same diagnosis as I do, and it's actually fairly unusual, of course. But that is where the similarity ends. Every single person is different. And so they're going to respond differently to different things. And so I always encourage people, find what's going to work for you. Nutrition is obviously a huge thing. And, most places have finally figured that out to whatever degree. I mean, like the nutritionist at my cancer center brought me a sheaf of, a bunch of paper on, and didn't really, now, if I had said, hey, I need to talk to you, she would have come back, but it was, here's nutritious Slurpees and things like that. But yoga, meditation, I mean, a lot of things like that are so important to have, part of that healing process. Now, I'll be honest, I don't meditate. Yep. And it's something that I struggle with, because a big part of it is getting my brain calm. And because my brain is going 900 miles an hour all the time. I'm pretty sure that even when I am in surgery, I'm probably talking to them. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. But journaling, I mean, there's so many things that can help us through this process. And we need to, now, if you think that's not going to work, well, then don't do it. But at least check it out, and see, and then of course it carries on, right? If you start journaling now, you're probably going to journal for the rest of your life. Hopefully if you start eating well, you'll continue that, all of those things. But yeah, you need to find what's going to work best for you. And there are certainly people who don't do any type of traditional Western medicine. I have a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer the same month that I was. And she did have surgery, but that was as far as she went. And she has done everything else totally holistic. Has she had recurrences? Yes. But she's been able to manage them. But I remember when she had her first recurrence, she contacted me, and she contacted me to start with. And she said, I just don't know what to do. She said, I think chemo will kill me. I said, well, then chemo will kill you. I mean, it was just that simple.
That's what you think. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and so when she had her first recurrence, she said, should I do chemo? And I said, what do you think about chemo? She said, I still think it will kill me. I said, then you can't do chemo. And it really is, obviously, and we all talk about this, it's about the quality of your life. And if you're doing things that make you feel better in your heart and your soul and your brain, then that's going to help. If you really don't want to do something, or if you do, I mean, I had I had an ultrasound earlier this week, and it showed an issue. And so I contact the doctor, and I say, can we just skip straight ahead, through the other 5 or 6 tests and just do a needle biopsy? He said, no, I want to be more conservative, yada, yada. And I get that. I understand that. Yesterday, I told my oncologist, and she said, no, we're going to go ahead. Because, she knew that would put me at ease. Even though we are 99% sure there's not a problem. I just, and that's what we have to do on this journey, is we have to advocate for ourselves.
Right.
We are the only people going through this. And we are the people who have to do what feels best for us.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing, is so many people get so disillusioned when they are continually fighting.
Well, and doctors are really smart people. They've gone to school for 900 years. That doesn't mean that what they're saying is right for us.
100%. Just had this week.
Yeah.
My mom. This was the prescription stuff that last week, the nurse said, hey, this is going on with your mom. I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. That happens all the time. Sent a message to the doctor, and he's like, well, let's do this and let's do that. And I'm like, no, this is what you have treated her for. I don't know how many times. Can you please just send in the freaking prescription? Again, the rest of the week to do it.
Oh yeah. I had, in amongst all of this, I had gallstones. I had gallstones bad enough. I went, and who knows if I would have otherwise. I mean, but it ended up in the ER twice. And so I had the ultrasound. We saw those little buggers, but they can't do anything. They have to send me to a GI. So I go to this man, and Oh, he was horrible. He was horrible. Um, he comes in and I start to tell him my sad tale of woe. Because I had a surgical procedure this last December and it was my 35th. So I've had a lot of surgeries. And so and he shakes his finger at me and he says, "You do not speak, you just listen to me." And so right? I turn into the petulant 12-year-old. And so he gives me the talk that he would for 99% of the world. Here's your gallbladder. Here's what causes gallstones. Let's see if we can resolve this without surgery through diet. All those things that you would
He
say
does not
normally.
know who he's speaking to.
Right. And so then he says, "What do you think?" So the petulant child responds,
"Did you let him have it?"
"Oh, no. You told me not to speak." Right. And so he went, "Well, I just needed to get through everything." And so then I let him have it. And I said, "You did not look at my chart before you came in, because the last thing in my chart that he would have seen is that I had an ultrasound and it showed gallstones, and it showed gallstones large enough they were not going away." And he went, and he said, "Well, let's still try a month. Here's a diet, do this, do that." I walk out of there. I call my surgeon. I have my own surgeon, would walk on fire for this man. And because he treats me as opposed to a diagnosis or anything. Right. And I go in, and within a week I had my gallbladder out. And so then I go back to the original doctor.
You did.
I did, just to see. And he said, "How you doing?" And I said, "I am doing so good. I haven't felt this good in years." I mean, I'm laying it on, right? And he said, "Well, see, I told you that, and I said, "I told you, you have got to read patients' charts before you come in, because I don't even have my gallbladder anymore." And I got up and walked out. But yeah, we have to be in charge. Now, the vast majority of our healthcare providers are very, very good. But I have fired several, and a couple of them have been simply because they don't understand me. They don't get that I might be goofy and silly. Now, I am always serious when I need to be serious. But yeah, when I had surgery last summer, the anesthesiologist came in and he said, "Okay, I started to read your chart. And can you just give me the highlights?" Because of course my chart probably is the size of
It's like
Warren
1,000 pages.
Yes. And I laughed and I said, "Yeah, no problems with anesthesia." I said, "But I am a natural redhead." And he went, "Okay, more anesthesia." I mean, and for those who don't know, those of us who are natural redheads, part of that gene makes us need more anesthesia. Anesthesia wears off more quickly, and we also have a higher tolerance for pain. And so they always need to, and as soon as he heard that I was a redhead, he knew exactly what I was talking about, because this is enhanced now. But yeah, I mean, and I thought, I like this man, I like him, I'll keep him.
Yep, that's awesome.
Wow.
So can you tell us about what Trying Not to Die is all about?
So it is about supporting everyone on their journey, showing them how to be an advocate for themselves. And if they're not able to, they need to have someone else who is. I spent a lot of time those first 7 weeks unconscious. And so my husband knew this is what she wants. This is what she doesn't want. And so, there's all that, how to support others. It's not just about us. I tell people I am a warrior, and it says so on my arm. And I have my angels on that surround my tattoo that says warrior. It's all the people that I have lost that I know are now cheering for me, right? And so those are my angels, which when you were reading all this, I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." But I tell you, we are warriors, but a warrior never stands without a tribe.
Yep.
And and so who do we want on our tribe? And so we support the caregivers, whether they're medical, whether they're family, co-workers, whatever. And the biggest question that I get from them is, "I don't know what to do." They don't know what to do. And so then, of course, they do nothing. And we get our feelings hurt because we think they don't love us. But we also don't always ask for help or be honest with them. They'll say, hey, Stephanie, how you doing? And you'll say, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I tell people that's fine is another one of those icky
Yep.
F words, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Yeah, people can't help if they don't know you need help.
Exactly. I love that you said that because, like our previous guest said, it's a both and. I'm
Yep.
fine and I do need some help.
Right. Yeah. And I will never say I'm fine. I might, the barista at Starbucks, but yeah, so yesterday, how you doing? I'm hunky dory. And my medical people know if I don't say hunky dory, there's a problem. And I don't know where hunky dory came from. I think my grandmother must used to have said that. But yeah, we have to be honest, but we have to be honest with ourselves.
Right.
If there's something that's going on, then we have to acknowledge it and then voice it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Say it,
Yeah.
speak it out. Don't hold it in, because who is that helping?
Well, and it's great that you were saying that you provide that support for the tribe, right? Because I was just on a call last night where people were talking about like having challenges and being able to tell someone when like just being depressed or whatever,
Right.
And most people can't do that. They can't reach out when they're sad, when they're depressed, when they're having a moment, right? And then, like you say, they get their feelings hurt when certain people don't show up for them. Well, some people don't know how to respond and they don't know what to do and they don't know. And so just asking, how are you doing is their way of trying to put a foot in the door, but they don't really know where they're going, and it's offensive to the person going through the thing. And so it's beautiful that you give that knowledge and that support, because I think so many people need it,
Right. Well, and we don't want to pry. We don't want to, make them think about bad things, all those things. And so I tell people, one of the easiest things to do is just say, hey, Wendy, I'm sorry you're going through this. Then you can carry it further or just say thank you, right?
Right. Exactly. Deb, can you talk about the strength that you witnessed in other survivors, and how that turned you into an advocate, to promote holistic wellness? And so can you tell us about some hope and some strength that you witnessed in fellow survivors?
There's so much strength that is out there. And sometimes the strength is when they're sitting there crying, right? But yeah, we all know somebody who has had cancer or something, right? Something very, very serious. And sometimes just knowing that they get through the day is one of those things. I have a friend who's going through this for the multiple times. And one time she told me, she said, I just don't know that I could do it again. That is incredibly strong. And it's strong for people to say, I need help, especially mental health, right? There is, that's probably one of the strongest things that you can do is to say, I've got, I really have some issues going on. And because it's one thing to look at me when I was bald and had a nose tube and all sorts of stuff. But now, I mean, I look perfectly healthy, right? And so if I were to say, hey, I'm really having a hard time, a lot of people would go, yeah, right. No, it's but yeah, sometimes the strongest thing you're doing is getting up.
100%. And so your strength, Deb, I'm wondering how you balanced your illnesses and getting healthy and getting well as being an entrepreneur, advocate, podcast host, wife. How do you balance all that?
It is from others, right? I couldn't have gotten through this without my husband. My mom came out from Kansas and stayed for 4.5 months. That's a little long, and we sent her home. But yeah, how do you, but the strength that I got was from others. You know,
Mhm.
I remember one time when I was in for surgery, and I had put it on my Facebook page. I have several Facebook pages. I have one for TryingNotToDie.LIVE, and I encourage anyone who, you know, wants to join that. That we love anybody to be in there. But I do have one that's just for me, and I keep people posted on what's going on. And you know, I'm laying there and they're prepping me for surgery, and it was, you know, it was a fairly serious surgery. And I remember thinking, well, I can't die. All of those people will be mad at me, you know. But more importantly, I felt that bubble of support, and I
Mhm.
knew that I was not alone.
Mhm.
You know, I posted yesterday, hey, you know, had some results from the ultrasound. They're a little scary, and my Facebook blew up with,
Mhm.
you know, what do you know, you'll get through it. What do we need to do? Hey, we're praying for you, whatever.
Mhm.
You know, but yeah, it's, we're not alone, and we need to draw our strength from others.
Mhm. Do you think that you have any, like, within that strength, like, you clearly are, you have your own special personality that is fabulous. Like, do you think that there was something about the way you were raised, or your family history, or
Mhm.
anything that, like,
Right.
Mm.
um
Yeah.
makes your
Mhm.
strength extra special? Like,
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah. Oh
just have
yeah.
a
Yeah.
personality.
So I'm an only child.
Okay.
And yeah, see, and so we are more independent.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it though, we're used to having to do stuff on our own, you know,
Yeah.
even if it's just entertaining ourselves. um but you know, but my mother, who, and she passed away, it's been almost a year ago,
Oh,
very strong-willed woman, who, even though she and I didn't always get along,
Mm-hmm.
I still thought, wow, because you
Mm-hmm.
know, she was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she always encouraged me. You know, whatever it was. I remember, you know, when I was probably junior high, um, you know, and I am at the very end of the baby boomer generation.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And so, you know, a lot of times women were told, you don't go to college, or if you do, you go for teaching and nursing. And
Mm-hmm.
my mother looked at me and went, you're going for something much more. And there was no question that I
Mm-hmm.
was going to college. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that was just these gap years, not, no, you know,
You're going.
yeah, yeah, you know, and it was, you're going to make something of yourself, and you're always going to be able to take care of yourself. I mean, I didn't get married until I was in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, it's, and but I, you know, I had other very powerful women around me the
Mm-hmm.
whole time. My dad, God rest his soul, one of my biggest cheerleaders in the world, usually had no concept as to what I was doing. You know, like when I launched my own business, he's like very confused. Um, but you know, he was still, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And he is, of course, one of the tattoos that are the angels on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and so yeah, I just keep coming back to this. It's our community.
It is.
You know, and what, you know, who do we need, and who do we need to not be in it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. That
Mm-hmm.
that energy you get from other people, and you're like,
Mhm.
whoa, no, no, no,
Right. Mhm.
go
Yeah.
away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, but.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Had a question come up.
Wonderful.
Of course, it's gone.
Uh-oh, butterfly.
Butterfly. Right. Exactly. I'm going to use that from now on. Okay. Here it came back. What would you say, Deb, to someone that has just been diagnosed, scared,
Mhm.
doesn't know what end is up at this
Mhm.
point? What would you say to that person?
It's okay to be scared. Now,
Yeah.
I was pissed. I was just annoyed. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
literally told my doctor, I'm sorry, I don't have time for this. But feel what it is that you need to feel.
Mhm.
You know, and then educate yourself.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of joked about this. Dr. Google is not our friend. you know,
Mm-mm.
um, you know, so find reliable sources, do your
Mhm.
research,
Mhm.
and start building that tribe. I mean, you know, it might be something as simple as, like I said, you know, this little skin cancer that was on my arm. You need to know what you need to know.
Yep.
And you know, and build that tribe. And if your tribe is not serving you, then change tribe members. But it's and I did not attend support groups. That's just not my thing. For others, it's a lifesaver. So figure out who you need to be around. And again, sometimes you don't want people. I love the people. Well, so and so had the same thing you did 30 years ago. Oh, and they died. That's not helpful. But yeah, it's and I think especially for women, we're going to be men and women, right? We're going to be tough. We're going to get through this.
Oh yeah.
It's different for men and women, and it's okay to not be. But also know that you are in charge. If your doctor, your medical team, your boss, whoever is not giving you what you need, then change it.
That's great advice.
That really is. That's
It's hard.
fantastic.
It's hard. We're not gonna especially like your job, right? You need your job, you need your paycheck, you need your insurance. But
wow. Well, so everybody go and visit Deb's website, TryingNotToDie.LIVE, and connect with this fantastic woman.
Well,
this
thank you.
bundle of energy.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So my goodness. Anything else, Steph, that we didn't?
No, again, thank you so much for helping me, have this conversation with people and for the other conversations that you have. Because the only way we make changes is by talking about it and by knowing that we're not alone.
And that's what we're all about, being here for people. And sorry, I'm just getting an essential oil aroma that I did not open. So I'm like, why do I smell lemongrass? Really
lemongrass
weird.
is fun. Lemongrass is nice.
Very cleansing and clearing. So yeah, very interesting.
Sorry.
Anyhow, thank you so much for coming and being here. And yeah, like, we are here to have those conversations and to help people find that joy in the struggle and the have a laugh. So
Exactly.
I hope they had a lot of laughs today, because this
They
was
should, if they didn't listen to us and giggle at least once or twice, their giggle bone is broken.
Yeah, they need to go see the doctor about that.
Oh, did I get an appointment for my giggle bone?
Can you imagine? Which doctor would you go to for that?
Family practice. She would get a good laugh out of it.
Oh, my primary care doc would think that's the funniest thing in the world.
I love that. I love that.
Should try it. I'll report back if I do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to hear about it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.